All right, guys, Beefy back again with a little speculation on the end of the petrodollar. So, rewind history. In the 70s, Nixon took the United States off the gold standard solely due to the conflict with Vietnam, and we couldn't wildly print money during that time frame because it was pegged to gold. So, he couldn't just remove the United States off the gold standard without having something else to fall back on. So in comes Henry Kissinger, flies over to Saudi Arabia, meets with the government, forms a plan that the dollar would be the sole currency used to purchase petrol, hence giving it a new peg. So any country that wanted to buy oil had to flip those into dollars and buy gold or oil. So there you go. So, and these are some transcripts here. I'll post them in the link. It's just it's more flattery than anything. And then you have there's been some articles. Oil for dollars deal with OPEC and the U.S. has been in place since the 1970s. However, multiple geopolitical and economic factors could challenge its supremacy. It's all huff and puff. If you think the largest military industrial complex on the face of this earth is going to allow the empire to crumble because Saudi Arabia gets mad and wants to sell oil to China in yuan. No. The Saudis know it. The United States government knows it. The end of the petrodollar is coming. The end. I'm not saying we'll stop oil consumption altogether. I'm not saying that. It will always be there. But on the scale, I don't think so. So right now, Saudis are trying to get as much cash as possible. I think Russia knows the jig is up. I think over the next 5 to 10 years, you will see a mass push to nuclear energy. Massive. It's the only way that it's going to support what they want to push, and that's electric vehicles, modern infrastructure, and all this stuff. It's the only feasible way to accomplish it. So, could the end of the petrodollar be the beginning of the wheat dollar? Very possible. In history, if we look back, currencies have been backed by food all over the world. As you may have heard, as I have, if there's a drought in Kansas, there's a riot in Cairo. So, if you've got one of the top 4 wheat producers in the world, and you could say your money is redeemable for food, how appealing would that be for an emerging market? Especially backed with the largest military in the world. Very appealing. Or this could go the other route. It could be a central bank digital currency backed by gold and Bitcoin. Both are very feasible. And you say, well, why do you think this is going to happen? I think we're fast approaching the end of the dollar cycle. I think the economy in the U.S., maybe of the world as we know it now, has about 3, maybe 4 boom and bust cycles left. You're going to see we're in a deflationary period now on a larger inflationary move like we discussed in the past. And I think after a couple of years of stagnation, the government is going to pass a very large infrastructure bill. I'm talking internet, roads, bridges, nuclear power plants, EV infrastructure. I'm talking the whole 9. They're going to overspend, and I'm working on another video. But with that, we're basically going to have a roaring 20 period where you're going to have 9 years of economic prosperity which you've not experienced. You may have thought 2021, 2020 was good for most. You've not experienced what will more likely come. Everything you touch will turn to gold. You can't go wrong. And then what goes up must come down. And I think when that happens, that will spell the end of the current petro fiat dollar as we know it. All right, gang. With that, beefy out. You guys have a good one.